Hey guys, what's going on? Today we are going to do wedding makeup. This is the look I came up with. I'm going to look down so you guys can see everything since I have hooded eyes, but it's kind of hard to find videos out there for wedding makeup and hooded eyes in general, so I wanted to share what I came up with today. This is definitely a standard, soft, very romantic, common kind of color scheme for eye makeup, which I think is the most versatile, so I wanted to share that with you guys today. You could totally adapt this look if you don't have hooded eyes. You just don't have to create your own crease. I'm also kind of giving you tips as I go through to kind of help you with longevity of makeup. We're gonna go ahead and get into it because it's a long video. I'm actually doing my best friend's makeup for her wedding in a couple weeks, so I thought what better time to share bridal makeup with you than now. She's going for more of like a bronzy look, but I wanted to share, like I said, a little bit more of like a standard common makeup look. And I'm using a lot of drugstore product. I am using some MAC shadows. I'm definitely using my Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palette. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it before I keep rambling on and this video is like 2 hours long. All right guys, here we go. You can see I've got some skin problems. It's almost my time of the month, so I have a breakout here, a breakout here. So we're gonna show you how to cover that, but first we're gonna start with the eyes. So you definitely wanna make sure to moisturize your face. I just use my typical CeraVe, but a really good moisturizer for wedding makeup is Embryolisse. I always used that when I was doing bridal makeup, and now they sell like a little tube. It's kind of expensive, but they sell like a little trial tube at Target, so that's a really, really good moisturizer. It almost serves as a primer as well. And you definitely want to let that sink into your skin for at least like 30 minutes before you apply your makeup. You really want to have hydrated skin. So while you do that and while your moisturizer sinks in, you could start on the eyes, which is always a good thing because if you have fallout or anything like that, you could still wipe it off. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. This is the look we're going for, and it's really not too difficult. I'm not using too many eyeshadow shades, and I'm actually using some drugstore, using a little bit of MAC and a little bit of my Carly Bible Deluxe Edition palettes. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm just gonna apply a concealer to my eye. You can use whatever kind of primer you want. I'm just using concealer because I like how it looks, and I'm gonna start to just blend that in with a beauty blender. If you have really pigmented eyes, if you have like some people look like they're kind of wearing eyeshadow. I find sometimes I look like that when I'm super tired. You can use something with a little more coverage, like a Tarte Shape Tape or something like a MAC paint pot. Just make sure you prime your eye, and then you definitely want to set that, because if you don't set that, then your eyeshadows as you apply them are gonna kind of grab to any kind of like wet parts. So you want to make sure you set it. So I'm just using my RCMA No Color powder, and I'm just gonna pat that onto my eyelid. So this way you have a nice slip for when you go in and apply all of your eyeshadows. Yeah, and I just kind of feel that like my finger kind of glides over the eyelid, and then I know I've set it enough. So we're good to go there. So now we're gonna go ahead and start applying the shadow. So the first shadow I'm gonna take is MAC Kid. It looks like this. It's a really nice neutral, kind of more on like the cool side, if anything, brown gray, if that makes sense. I'm gonna just take that on a MAC 222 when I locate it. There we go. And I'm gonna just kind of start to make my fake crease like this. The reason I'm using this shade is because it kind of mimics the shadow of my eye, and that's exactly what I'm going for. I don't want to, I've been like practicing, and as I've been using kind of browns, it doesn't look as natural on me. So using something like this just kind of mimics my actual shadow in my eye. A good way to find out where to place your shadow is to kind of lean back like this, and I can see where my natural shadow in my actual eye socket is. So hopefully you guys can see that on camera. It's darker from this outer corner and going up like this. So my natural crease is right there, but when I bend my head backwards, you can kind of see where the natural shadow, and you can even feel your socket bone. That's where you want to kind of apply this, because we're trying to just mimic those shadows right now. Because the whole key with bridal makeup is to make it look soft but enhanced. So we don't want to go in with like a super dark color at this point and make it look like really intense. We just want to kind of start to shape that shadow. So I start here, and I'm kind of going in like on an angle, like a slope, the outer V, if you will. I apply a little heavier here to kind of start to mimic a cat eye effect. Because when I do bridal makeup, I want my eyes to look lifted. And when you look down, they kind of lift up rather than like go down. That's just the effect that I like with bridal makeup and most makeup in general. So once I've got that down, I'm gonna kind of start to work in towards that natural shadow on my eye. See how I'm just kind of following that natural shadow? I'm bringing it in. I'm not going downwards. I'm not following my actual crease. I'm going in, following my orbital bone shape, and I'm very, very lightly touching my skin. I don't want to do anything too intense. Okay, so once I have that foundation laid out, you need to blend. So I'm just going to take Morphe M505, make sure there's no color on it whatsoever, and then we're going to just start to kind of blend that out. And you don't want to like blend too heavy over the whole thing, because then the shadows are just going to move up and down. I'm starting at the like top of where the shadow kind of ends, and I'm just gonna kind of lightly start to blend that out. So I still have color there and a definition, but there's no harsh lines. I literally have my hand like this right now, like that meme. I don't know why. So the goal here is just to make it look like you have a natural shadow. You won't really be able to see much. And that's the key with hooded eyes and bridal makeup. Blend, blend, blend. So that's to a point where I like it. You can see it's just a little bit of definition, and that is awesome. So the next shade we're gonna go into is this color in the Carly Bible palette, and this is just going to kind of deepen that outer corner. I like this color because it's a cooler shade of brown, and I didn't want to go too warm because then I find it kind of gets a little bit muddled, and this just makes like the natural shadow a little bit deeper, if that makes sense. So I'm going to hold up the shade right next to it that we just used, Kid from MAC, and then we're going to go in quite a few shades darker with this guy right here. And I'm going to take that on a more precise brush. So I'm going to take my MAC 226, so it's just a bit more precise, and I'm really going to just start to deepen that outer corner. So we're gonna go in that whole like V shape and kind of bring the eye up with this. So see how I'm kind of, again, following that slope shape. And then, you know what, I'm gonna switch actually to a MAC 224 and start to build in that color. So see how it's just kind of going in that V motion, and I'm also kind of blending as I go, pulling the color in. And I'm following that outer lash line to kind of lift the eye. Kind of poking it right into that orbital bone crease. And then I'm just kind of dipping again and building color. Once again, dipping, building. So you're just gonna slowly build up to the intensity that you like. If this is as intense as you want it, stop here and start blending it out. I'm gonna go a little bit heavier for a little more definition like I have here. Okay. So I'm going to start blending, and then I'll probably add a little bit more. So again, Morphe M502. Don't blend too much on the colors that you've laid down. Really blend on the edges. Make sure you blend on that inner area as well right here, so you don't have like a harsh line. All right, so let's leave it at that for now. The next shade we're gonna go in with is Ground Brown. Looks just like that. It's just much warmer than that brownish greenish color I was just using. And I'm gonna define that outer corner a little bit more just to start to get the shape of what I want. So I'm gonna go in with my MAC 226 once again to start into ground brown, and I'm gonna just deepen. Kind of staying closer to just my like actual eyelid, my mobile lid. And we're gonna sweep that down. I'm gonna switch to a pencil brush actually. I'm gonna start to kind of work that into my actual lashes a little. We'll bring it in a little bit later, but just trying to kind of lay out the shape. Bring that up. So again, cat eye. Okay, so then I'm gonna blend that once again. All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that, and then I'm going to quickly take Brulee first. So that again is a MAC shadow. It looks like that. It's kind of just like a off-white cream shade. I'm gonna take that on a flat brush and work that from inner corner to meet that like transition shade right there. And this is just kind of the groundwork for another shade we're gonna put over it. I just like how the pink shade we're gonna put on top kind of lays. So I'm stopping here. I'm not going over that darkness because I don't want to muddle that darkness. I'm just kind of meeting where that transition shade starts. And then I'm gonna blend that so they blend seamlessly together. And then I'm taking MAC's Girly, which is more of a pinkish shade. You don't have to do this. I just kind of like the effect it gives. Looks just like that. It's just a matte pink color. And I'm gonna pack it on that same brush that I just packed Brulee on. And I'm gonna lay it right on top. When I was just doing Girly, I didn't feel like the color showed up enough. So packing Brulee under it just kind of makes everything a little more prominent, and I only keep this on my actual lid. I'm not bringing that up. And then once again, blend. I'm gonna take a clean Morphe. That's another key. Make sure you have a clean with no color blending brush next to you at all times. It makes the job so much easier. I'm just gonna start to kind of blend everything together. All right, so now I'm gonna take a liner brush. This is just a Sonia Kashuk number 27, very, very thin liner brush. And I'm going to dip into that Embark color, the MAC shade. And then I'm just gonna kind of line my lash line with this very, very close. I don't want to create any kind of wing. I don't want to create anything dramatic at all. I'm just kind of gonna make the shadow look like it's going from really thin on the inner corner to like fading into the shade that's on the outer corner of my eye. Always think that an eyeshadow as an eyeliner for wedding makeup looks a lot better because it's soft. So that's pretty good. We might add a little bit when I get my falsies on and do the rest of my makeup, but I'm just gonna take Wet n Wild Blossom Glow. It's just a pale pinky highlight shade, and I'm gonna take this on like an Eco Tools concealer brush. It's just a really tiny brush. Lightly tuck that under my brow bone. Very, very close to the eyebrow, and if you're getting married, you're gonna have your eyebrows perfectly done. I don't, which is nothing new. And then I'm gonna take that on the inner corner as well. Not gonna bring it down here yet because I still have to apply my face makeup. All right, so eyebrow. This is gonna make everything come together. I'll like fast forward through this. With eyebrows, you don't wanna do anything too trendy or crazy. Eyebrows are one thing that change all the time, and you just wanna make sure you do something kind of soft and classic, something that's gonna be timeless, because these pictures are gonna be around forever and you don't wanna look back and be like, oh shoot, what was I thinking at that time with the brow, you know? So just keep that in mind if you are doing something at the moment that's like trendy with eyebrows. Eyebrows change like with every single, man, I don't even wanna say decade, it's like every few years they change. I went ahead and finished my brow, and then I was obviously using the Anastasia Brow Wiz, and then I just set everything so it kind of gives it that feathery, you know, pushed up look with the Maybelline Brow Precise. I love this stuff. It almost like highlights your brows a little bit, so it looks really nice. I also just applied a little bit of the Makeup Forever Step 1. I like to let my primer sit in for about 10 minutes before I start. So we're gonna do eyelashes. So I just pressed this into anywhere where like I have big pores. Tailor your primer to what your skin needs. If you're dry, use a hydrating primer. If you have big pores, use something like a smoothing primer like this from Makeup Forever. If you're a little on the red side, use a green color correcting primer. Use whatever your skin needs. So I'm gonna let that sit and sink in while I apply my lashes. I am a huge fan of individual or lash clusters for wedding makeup. It's just so much more comfortable. If you're crying and you like go to wipe your eye and you have a strip lash on, you can totally rip your whole lash off, which can ruin your entire look. So I'm much more into individuals or lash clusters. I'm using the Kiss lash clusters. They look like this, and I'm just gonna kind of start to apply those to my eyes. So they're super easy to apply. All you do is apply a little bit of like a dab of glue, and then you just have to take them off and start applying them to your lash line. So I like to start with the mediums on the outside. I have a whole bunch in front of me, so I'm gonna just start to apply those. I have a whole video on how I apply these. I'll link that below if you guys are interested. So I'm just probably going to fast forward through most of this, but I'll show you how I do a couple of them so you guys can kind of see. I'm gonna go ahead and apply a coat of mascara. Definitely need to use waterproof. I'm obviously not getting married, so I'm not applying waterproof, but if you're getting married, make sure you're using waterproof. That goes without saying. I think everybody kind of knows that nowadays, but you definitely don't want to cry your mascara down your face. While that's kind of drying, I'm gonna go ahead and go in and start to apply these lashes because they're just so easy. So, and I didn't curl my lashes because when I curl my lashes and then apply falsies, my lashes kind of grow on like steps. So some grow here on my like lower lash line, and then some grow a little above, and it makes it really hard for me to apply lashes like that. So see how that works? It's super easy. So there we go. I like that. I'm probably gonna line over the like glue with Embark later on, but we're gonna go ahead and move on to the face. I've already primed, as you know, with the Makeup Forever in like my pore areas. I'm just gonna give my face a quick spritz of the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water, and I'm gonna go in with my Too Faced Born This Way foundation. Another really good option is the Makeup Forever HD. This is very good for photos. I don't have any issues with flashback with Born This Way, and I really prefer how Born This Way looks on my face. I'm just grabbing a headband really quickly. So I'm gonna go with Born This Way, but please use whatever you think. I know some people think that they get flashback with Born This Way. For some reason, I don't, and I just really like how it looks. So I'm going to start to apply that to my face. The key with foundation and bridal makeup, you do not want to go too heavy. Oh, I gotta show you one thing before we do that. I want to conceal this blemish with a green color corrector. So this one is just from Wet n Wild. It's very cheap, but I'm gonna kind of apply a light coating of that. And if I need to, I'll go in again just to counteract the redness before the foundation. And the same thing up here. Blending out the edges. So that's just like a base, and then we'll go in again with concealer if we need to. So then I'm just gonna start to blend. And you just wanna be very, very thin, a thin layer. I'm gonna even grab some of that and move it around my face with this stuff. Because you don't wanna look like you have a cakey mask on. You wanna look like you're just evening out your skin tone. I talked about that in my color theory video. When you're applying foundation, you're not trying to apply a mask on where it looks like you're like a cakey mess. You know what I'm saying? You just want a nice thin layer. I'm gonna avoid those areas for now. And I have self tan on, which is why this is way different than my actual skin tone. It does match my actual body. It looks funny when you put it against like a pale white face. So yeah, you want to just even everything out. That's the point of foundation. You want your neck to match your cheeks, to match your chin, to match your ears, which is why I'm gonna take this up onto my ears to match everything. You don't want like a cakey mess. And then you can build up coverage where necessary. And make sure you take that into the hairline. If you have platinum hair, obviously be careful with that. Okay, and as you can see, I kind of avoid my under eye area because I go in with concealer and I just don't want to like cake up any of the product, if that makes sense. I don't know how that wouldn't make sense. So now I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape in medium. Normally, I'm not like a huge fan of Tarte Shape Tape, but for a day like today, on a wedding day, it works out really well. I'm gonna apply that on top of that blemish, that one, around the nose, because I get red there really quickly, and then blend. Okay, so my camera just died, big shocker. I'm not big into baking. What I did with this eye is I just took my RCMA no color powder, I take it on my beauty blender like that, and then I take my clean finger, make sure there's no powder on it, I pat out very lightly, and you can do this with a beauty blender as well, any kind of like creases, and I have creasy under eyes, that's just what it is, but I kind of look down like this because then my creases kind of flatten, and I kind of like look like a crazy person like this. And then I set. And I'm not gonna bake, I'm gonna pretty much wipe this off right away, but I am using it to set my under eyes. And if baking works for you, definitely do it. I just don't like it. So then I just kind of start to pat that powder in. So let's finish these under eyes. Let's go ahead and take Kid by MAC, and we're gonna take that on a pencil brush, and we're just gonna start to work that under the eyes. Just like that. And then I'm going to take Embark, which is the darker shade, and I'm going to take that on more of a precise brush. So I'm going to use this MAC, I always forget the number, it's this MAC very, very tiny brush right here, and I'm going to just work that really tight to the lower lash line. And then I'm just going to take a flesh toned eyeliner and hit my waterline real quick. You can use black here, you can use whatever you want, a brown, a bronze. I just think that this makes my eyes look a little more open, so I like that. And then I'm gonna apply some mascara to my bottom lashes really quickly. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is bronze the skin up a little bit and give some life to it. So I'm taking the Maybelline Master Contour palette, and I'm taking this color right here just to warm up the face. It looks very natural on me. It has like a cool pinky undertone. So I am bringing this onto the cheeks rather than really in the like socket of the cheek. And then I'm just gonna take a fluffy brush, and I'm not gonna contour a lot down my nose. I'm just more doing this to tie in everything. So I'm just lightly dipping into that same contour shade, and I'm just gonna kind of like mimic the natural contours of my nose. So I'm not slimming down the nose or anything. I'm just tying everything in. If that makes sense. You could definitely contour your nose if necessary. I just don't really feel like I need to. All right, so taking that highlight shade, first I'm going to add that in on the inner corner and kind of bring it down. So this is that Wet n Wild Blossom Glow. Bringing that down. I sure hope the color is not changing too much on this video. The sun kind of is like playing me right now. And then for my face, I'm actually gonna take Mary Luminizer, which looks like this, and we're not gonna do anything too crazy. I'm just gonna kind of do what I always do. I take it in like a small C shape from here to here. I know a lot of people go like hug the whole eye. I just like to keep mine there. And down the nose with my finger, Cupid's bow, and then I just hit it with a beauty blender. All right, and then we are going to blush. We are getting to the end here, minus the lip color. So I'm just taking Exposed by Tarte, looks like that. Really pretty neutral color. I think it goes well with the look. And then just to blend that out, I'm taking my beauty blender along the edges. See how nice and natural blending with the beauty blender looks? Like that doesn't have it, and that does. Oh, it just makes it look so natural. And that's exactly what you want with bridal makeup. All right, I think we're on the last step, lips. So I'm using the ColourPop in Beeper to line my lips. And then I'm bringing that all the way in, obviously, because you want this to last as long as possible if your lip color is to wear off. And then I'm gonna just take the Jordana matte lipstick in matte blush. I'll show you guys what it looks like on the back of my hand. Looks like that, super pretty. It's pretty neutral. This is like an exact replica of the Anastasia Pure Hollywood. So feel free to use that if you want more of a matte long wearing lipstick. This will not last that long, but I like the color. And then just to turn it into a little bit more of a pinkish color, I'm taking the Wet n Wild Pink Really Hard, putting that on the back of my hand because that is a very pink color. Looks like that. And I'm going to just take it and press onto my lips. And then a little lip gloss. This is NYX Madeline. And then of course we need to set everything with a setting spray. Urban Decay All Nighter is my go-to. Don't forget, if you are exposing your décolleté, to highlight your collarbones, and then even right here on the tips of the shoulders. It makes it look like you're glowing and it looks super pretty, so don't forget about that one. Alright you guys, and this is a completed look. I'll look down here so you guys can see everything since I do have hooded eyes. I really like how this turned out. I think it looks super pretty. It's super romantic. It would work on so many different dress colors, and it works for hooded eyes. So if you don't have hooded eyes, you could totally adapt this look as well. You just don't have to create your own crease color. You could just take the colors that I used to create my crease and throw them in your crease. It'll be a little bit easier than having to, you know, like blend a natural crease onto yourself. So I hope this was helpful to some of you. If you guys have any questions, as always, please let me know below. You could totally turn, if you have like a breakout or something like that on the day of, you could just take a little bit of brown eyeliner and kind of put that on your breakout so it looks more like a mole. I would probably do that on this guy if I was getting married. Desi Perkins has a really good video on covering acne and stuff like that. You should definitely watch that if you haven't seen it. I'm not going to do it because I'm not getting married today and I'm fine with how it's covered right now, but yeah, this is everything. If you guys wanted to change out any of the shadows, you totally could. If you didn't want to do like a pinkish look, you could totally exchange the pink that I put on my lid for something like a brown or a bronzy color. You could even change those outer corners into like a burgundy color if that was something you were interested in. Super versatile. I just kind of wanted to give you guys ideas on like how to kind of shape the eye and how to make it work. So again, I hope this was helpful to some of you. If you are getting married and doing your own makeup, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. I wish you a very long, happy marriage. If you guys have any questions at all, please leave them below. I read every single comment and respond to as many as I possibly can. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here today, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.